Richard Cypher is in for an adventure when wandering through the forest and stumbles on a woman who appears to be running for her life. This book, Wizard's First Rule, takes you into another fantasy world. How does the first entry of the Sword of Truth series hold up? Let's dive in. Wizard's First Rule is the first book in the Sword of Truth series by Terry Goodkind. It was released on August 15th, 1994. This book has got quite a bit of pages, actually. 836 if you include some of the extras. So, what does he give us in this series? I want to start by saying that I have not read through the entire series yet, so this review is going to be based on the actual book, and it's not going to have any information on upcoming events, so therefore my opinions can't be swayed in anything that might happen further on in the series. The first few chapters of this book I really enjoy. Terry Goodkind sets up a really unique time and theme in the world where there's three boundaries that separate different portions. The boundaries are really hard to cross, but they're weakening, and the threat of an evil Dark Lord, Lord Rahl. The main character, Richard Cypher, when he stumbles upon someone managing to get across the boundary that separates the West and Midlands from the East, she's being chased by some people in the forest, and she's trying to get away from them. Things are kicked into high gear when he finds out that his own house has actually been sacked by someone, seemingly there to kill him. The woman's name is Kaylin. She's right here in the book. She happens to be a confessor, which is unknown to Richard, and it appears that she, although thankful for Richard's effort, is still keeping things from him. Richard, being oblivious to most magic at this point, has no idea about what he's about to get into and what a confessor even is. Terry Goodkind is really good at setting scenes. In the entire portion of the first part of this book, with the boundaries and the boundary warden chase, I can really remember very vividly in my mind. But after that fact, things start to get a little bit off, and they don't seem to really return to a better storytelling aspect. I would say that the magic system in this book is anything but fantastic. In fact, I would call it pretty lazy and more of a plot convenience tool throughout the entire book more than anything else. There are two types of magic in this book. There is additive magic and subtractive magic, and they don't go into the magic systems that much, but really when a character needs to have something done and there isn't a really good explanation for it, they just use magic, and that's it. The entire plot to this book is kind of like a fetch and find quest where the characters are having to find these things called the Boxes of Odin, and to keep them from the Dark Lord from opening them so he can completely control the world with them. The book really slows down midway through. It starts to introduce a tribe in the Midlands. It's a group of characters that really just wasn't very fascinating, and it just kept going and going and going. And then even after the fact, more character introductions and a really odd last third of the book where there's some pretty graphic torture scenes, and Terry Goodkind seems to really want to describe how the main character ends up being with his torturer. It's kind of odd, but I suppose that's the style of this book. I kind of got the feeling about it midway through, and then towards the end it really just kicked it into fourth gear. The ending of this book I really kind of had a problem with. It was another one of those magic plot conveniences, and they throw a dragon in there. Not really fond of that either. One thing that Terry Goodkind is really bad at is he pulls from other fantasy series to the point where I would almost call it plagiarism. It's blatant. It takes me out of the book. It's that bad. There's some characters in here that you can just tell, like he almost went word for word in description with what he wants this one character to be perceived as, and it's not. It's jarring, and it's lazy, terrible writing. I'm not a fan of that at all. Terry Goodkind also decides to go ahead and like put a dragon in here towards the end of the story. I mean, he gets mentioned in some of the most, or the dragon gets mentioned in the most boring parts to me, but at the end, it's just another one of those magic plot convenience things, which is just also jarring, and not really a fan of it. Also, not really a fan of talking dragons. I know some people are, but I prefer the dragon to just kind of, be smart and not able to use human language. It's not really explained so much, but that's that, I guess. So the book ends very plot convenient wise, and the tail end is just a very interesting decision at the end of the day, I guess. So overall, this book, not really a fan of it, but I am going to give the rest of the series a read just because I feel like I should. Now, the author himself has said that this is not a fantasy series, even though there's a bunch of magic and all that kind of stuff in there. It seems like he really wants to stay away from that fan base, which is kind of insulting, and I don't know. We'll see what kind of a dude Terry Goodkind is as we go through the rest of the books. Have you guys read it? I know that a lot of people have good things to say with it. There are redeeming factors. It was very, very good. I really did like the very beginning of this book. It just continued to fall off all the way to the end, and I really hope that Stone of Tears, which is the second book in the Sword of Truth series, will be better. But with that being said, what are your guys' thoughts on this book? Comment below, let me know. If you want to see the full article, you can head over to dickwizardry.com. You can also check our other book reviews there, and look forward to the Stone of Tears one, which I am currently just getting started on. So hopefully I can have that review to you in a few weeks. Depends on how long it's going to take me to read it. But thank you, everyone, and subscribe if you haven't yet. See you next time.